The Plimsoll mark, or load line, is one of the most vital safety features in maritime transport. It indicates the maximum depth to which a ship can be safely loaded, ensuring that it maintains adequate buoyancy and stability while preventing overloading. The International Convention on Load Lines, ILLC 1966, was adopted on the 5th of April 1966 and entered into force internationally on the 21st of July 1968. Malaysia ratified the convention on 12th of January 1971, and it entered into force in Malaysia on the 12th of April 1971, as prescribed under Article 28, coming into force of the convention. Later, the Protocol of 1988 to the ILLC was introduced to harmonize the survey and certification systems across major maritime conventions. The 1988 Protocol entered into force internationally on the 3rd of February 2000, while Malaysia ratified it on 11th of November 2011, and it officially entered into force in Malaysia on the 11th of February 2012. This amendment introduced the Harmonized System of Survey and Certification, HSSC, enabling Malaysia to align load line certification with other conventions such as SOLAS and MARPOL, thereby ensuring consistency and efficiency in vessel inspections and certifications. Under Regulation 2, Application of the Load Line Convention, Annex 1, all ships 24 meters and above in length are required to comply with load line regulations. This includes cargo vessels, tankers, and passenger ships, while exemptions apply to ships of war, pleasure yachts not engaged in trade, and fishing vessels, as stated in Article 5, Exceptions. The convention standardizes the calculation of freeboard, the vertical distance between the waterline and the deck line, ensuring that all ships maintain sufficient reserve buoyancy to prevent water ingress and improve seaworthiness. The Plimsoll line, though simple in appearance, plays a crucial role in ship safety by showing how deeply a vessel may safely sit in the water according to its structure, cargo, and voyage conditions. Historically, the concept of the load line was introduced in the 19th century by Samuel Plimsoll, a British politician and reformer who fought against the dangerous practice of overloading ships. His campaign for seafarers' safety led to the Merchant Shipping Act of 1876, which required all ships to carry a visible mark indicating their safe loading limit. This mark, now universally known as the Plimsoll line, became a powerful symbol of maritime safety, saving countless lives by preventing ships from being sent to sea under unsafe loading conditions. In Malaysia, the regulation of load lines is governed under Part 6 of the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952, MSO 1952, titled Load Line and Loading. The ordinance requires that all Malaysian registered ships comply with international standards and carry valid load line certificates. According to Section 311 of the MSO 1952, amended 2017, no Malaysian or British load line ship registered in the Federation may be loaded in such a way that the load line mark on either side of the ship is submerged when the ship is upright and in salt water. In other words, a vessel must never be loaded beyond the legal safety limit. If this rule is violated, the owner and master of the ship are liable to a fine not exceeding RM 1,000, with an additional fine of up to RM 1,000 for every inch or fraction of an inch the line is submerged. However, if the submersion occurs due to unavoidable weather conditions or circumstances beyond control, it may be accepted as a valid defense. Still, the authorities retain the power to detain the vessel until it complies with the regulations, as stipulated under Section 311(5). For passenger ships, Section 312 introduces the subdivision load line, which is based on the vessel's design and watertight compartments to ensure that it remains stable and buoyant even in emergencies. Overloading beyond this line is a serious offense, carrying the same penalties as in Section 311, including fines and potential detention. Furthermore, Section 317 states that no ship shall proceed to sea without a valid load line certificate, which proves that the vessel has been properly surveyed, marked, and certified according to the load line rules. The master must produce this certificate before departure, and failure to do so may result in a fine of up to RM 1,000, and the ship may be detained until the certificate is produced. In addition, Section 81 of the ordinance mandates that ship owners must ensure the latest Malaysian legislations, conventions, and notices are readily accessible on board, with non-compliance punishable by a fine of up to Rm 25,000 per ship. To implement and enforce these requirements, Malaysia's Marine Department issues Malaysia Shipping Notices, MSN, that provide official guidance and technical instructions. Among the key notices are MSN 47-2008, Implementation of the Load Lines 1966, which details the procedures and technical requirements for Malaysian ships. MSN 01-2013, Implementation of the Harmonized System of Survey and Certification, HSSC, which harmonizes certification across conventions. MSN 10-SAF 2008, Stability and Trim Information, which requires that the master of every vessel be provided with approved stability data to ensure safe loading and ballasting. The Plimsoll mark itself consists of a disc with a horizontal line through its center, indicating the maximum draft a ship may safely reach when fully loaded. Alongside this disc are horizontal seasonal load lines labeled according to specific sea and climate conditions: TF, tropical freshwater; F, freshwater; T, tropical seawater; S, summer seawater; W, winter seawater; WNA, winter North Atlantic. These markings account for water density and temperature variations across seasons and regions. The underwater hull shape of a ship strongly affects its displacement and the position of its load line marks. When a ship has a slender or fine underwater hull, the underwater area is much smaller. This reduces buoyancy and requires the ship to sit deeper in the water to reach its intended load displacement. This design is common in container ships, which are built for speed and fuel efficiency. Because of their finer hull form, the tropical T load line mark often appears higher than the freshwater F mark. The spacing reflects the ship's reduced underwater volume and the need for deeper drafts to maintain stability and performance. In contrast, ships with fuller underwater hulls, such as bulk carriers and tankers, have larger underwater areas and greater natural buoyancy. For these vessels, the T mark tends to be lower relative to the F mark because fuller hulls experience larger changes in buoyancy when moving between fresh water and salt water. In short, the hull fullness or fineness directly influences how load line marks, especially T and F, are positioned, accurately reflecting the ship's buoyancy characteristics and compliance with the International Load Line Convention. The mark must be clearly and permanently painted on both the port and starboard sides of the vessel at the midship area, ensuring visibility for surveyors and port officers during inspection. Proper placement allows quick detection of uneven loading, list, or submersion that could affect the vessel's stability. Each load line mark also carries a symbol identifying the recognized organization, RO, or authority responsible for certifying the ship. As of current approval by the Ministry of Transport Malaysia, there are 11 recognized organizations, ROs. American Bureau of Shipping, ABS. Bureau Veritas, BV, China Classification Society, CCS. Det Norske Veritas, Germanischer Lloyd, DNV. Indian Register of Shipping, IRS. Korean Register, KR. Lloyd's Register, LR. Nippon Kaiji Kyokai, Class NK. RENA Services, SPA. Each recognized organization is authorized by the Marine Department Malaysia to perform load line assignments, issue and endorse load line certificates, conduct surveys under the Harmonized System of Survey and Certification, HSSC. The International Load Line Convention, established by the International Maritime Organization, IMO, ensures global uniformity in determining ship freeboards and stability criteria. It requires that every ship, regardless of its flag, maintain a minimum reserve buoyancy to avoid flooding and loss of stability. Different ship types, such as cargo ships, bulk carriers, oil tankers, and passenger vessels, are assigned their respective freeboards based on design, structure, and operations. In essence, the load line is far more than a painted mark. It is a legal, technical, and moral safeguard that protects ships, cargoes, and human lives.
That's all for a video. Thank you. See you in the next video.